So hello and welcome to the channel, welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione video. In this video we're going to be doing something a little bit different, something that I've probably not done before on the channel. I'm going to be almost doing like a reveal maybe on some of the footage that I've taken over the past couple of weeks, races that I've taken part in, some of the things that I'm coming across during races, some of the techniques that I'm using during races. And I'm just going to be watching this at the same time as you're watching it, and I'll just give my little take on things that are happening during the race, some of the issues that you might be dealing with as well. So if you do enjoy the video, please do put a like in the comments, or please put a comment in the comment section, push that like button, and do the rest of the stuff that we normally ask you to do. So here we are in the Aston Martin. Probably a unique position to be sat in as a driver, but yeah, let's get into this video. Let's have a look what's going on, and we'll start the video here at Zolder. And I've been running during this race for probably 15 minutes or so, and I'm just coming across some back markers, so let's see where we're at during the video. So obviously coming through the chicane, bouncing over the curbs that we really don't want to be doing, and we're coming up on this back marker. Not to be criticising other drivers, obviously everyone's at different stages in this game, and obviously he feels like he's setting a good pace, and you can see my pace in the top right left hand corner there, 129.3, 129.4, so we're already into the 30s. So he's definitely slowing me down here, but he has got no reason to be racing me whatsoever. He could just pull over at any time. He's a long way behind the rest of the field. I think at the start of the lap he was just coming out of the pits or something like that. So as much as he's trying to feel like he's having a race with me, he could just touch his brake pedal. Now he's passed a number of blue flags just to let me by, get back on the racing line, and I can carry on with my race. Really no need for back markers, especially to be pushing the lead driver. It's just something that shouldn't be happening. So moving on to the next one then. As you can see, we're back here at Kyalami, as it says, and you can see we've managed to hit a number of 140 laps during the previous race. And we're just going to be running another race here at Kyalami. A number of good drivers on the grid, a number of drivers that I know well. And as I mentioned, this isn't to criticise other drivers. It's just things that are happening during races to try and help you get quicker as well. One of the things that I do seem to come across when I'm really pushing hard and I'm trying to hit consistent lap times is drivers that are driving much slower. Now as you start to drive much slower, obviously you start to reduce the tyre temperatures, and you almost kind of stop the aero package working at its best by driving at a slower speed. I'm sure I did a test during this evening, just putting the engine map to engine map 10, and then I went to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And between 5 and 1 I didn't actually notice very much performance difference, but the performance difference was noticeable between 10 and 5, but I was still able to lap into the 143s even on engine map 10. So which kind of tells you that there's a lot to be gained at Kyalami with engine maps, and obviously the more we practice the more we're going to get better. But you can see I'm really wanting to push on in these laps, and I really do need to get past Marcosaurus really quickly, because he really is holding up the pace that I've got capable, but through good driver or through good car positioning he really is stopping me from progressing. And I think that's one of the things. You don't have to be the fastest car on the track to win races. It's all about car positioning and stopping cars passing. And I guess all that comes down to good car craft, really. Obviously you can see I'm running wide, and definitely following other cars within Assetto Corsa Competizione will affect the aero performance of the car behind. Obviously we see this time and time again in Formula 1, where we've gone from season to season and they've made numerous changes to try and stop the effects of the car in front stealing so much air performance from the car behind, just allowing the cars behind to run much closer. As you can see here, I forget the guy that's in the following Ferrari, but another good driver, Powdered Giant there, I can just see down in the left hand corner. But he's a great driver, and he is pushing me to try and defend my position as much as I'm trying to attack. But obviously I'm having to watch that rear view mirror as much as I'm trying to progress forward. Now Marco seems to go very slowly into this line, or maybe he's taking the inside line in order to block my exit, which is a good technique, definitely. Always try and take that inside line and make the following driver go the long way around to get the overtake done. I think numerous times I've lost positions by not covering that inside line, but obviously that also depends on the next corner sequence. You can sort of start and overtake a number of corners before. So here managed to get on the inside line, and he's not covered it enough, but he's managed to carry the speed. There is a good line through the outside of that turn to continue to hold the position. So again, just trying to get a good launch off these exits. You notice I've not dropped down to TC1 on the exit, which is something that I generally would do, dropping between TC6 and TC1. And it's probably something that I'd recommend you trying. I'd always try and lower the traction control as far as you can lower it, to a point where you're accelerating off the corner but you're not losing the rear end of the car. You're not suffering with oversteer on corner exit. So as we come up the hill, I get this totally wrong. I think he's left enough room on the inside, and we just take a little touch. Powdered Giant takes a little touch from the rear, and rejoining the circuit, I get the car in the right direction, look at the map, make sure there's no other cars behind, and rejoin the circuit. And Powdered Giant staying behind then, just to apologise for the little tap, and we continue to have a race. I think we both go straight into the pits from this, actually. Looking down at the damage that I've taken, I'm not going to win this race, so there really is no point in continuing to battle for a position. If you're not going to win, you're not going to win. So you can see I've got 19, nearly 20 seconds worth of damage. So every lap that I perform after that is just going to be really a below par lap. The aero's not going to be working properly, and it is pointless coming in. So as we come into the pits, there's no need to replace the tyres, so I can save myself another 30 seconds in the pit and just repair the damage. I love Primal Fear, two other really good drivers, as I come into the pits there. And we did have a little chat, Powdered Giant and myself, after that for that little tap. And I did apologise to the lead car as well, Marcus Saurus, for that little tap. Just these things happen. So moving then on to back to Kyalami in a brilliant race again, where I'm here with Powdered Giant. And this is the benefit of using TC1 and TC6. So you see us coming into the chicane here, and just as we go into the exit, you'll see me switch to TC1, and just look at the performance that I get off that corner from switching to TC1. I'm not sure what traction control Powdered Giant's using. A small little tap there, but we again discussed that afterwards, and he said he felt absolutely nothing. But this is the last lap of the race. It was a brilliant race as well. And as we come into this sort of hairpin, I just run a little bit deep, and again just switching to traction control 1, away we go. And even though he's got a better launch off the corner, I just managed to stay ahead using TC1. So definitely something to think about doing is swapping from traction control 1 to 6, or whatever you're using in whatever car you're driving. It might be from 4 to 1, it might be you're able to stay in 2 and go from 2 to 1, or even 9 to 1. but lowering that traction control as soon as you've got the power down. You can see here as we come on board, just looking to the inside the cockpit, you'll see I'll put a little circle up around traction control 6 just as we drop to TC6, get the car nice and straight, accelerating off TC1, and I get a far better launch off the corner. Coming through the tight twisty stuff, I can see that he's alongside with the radar system that we've got. Definitely use that radar system. It can allow you to have a much closer battle by knowing where the other car is, and you can avoid each other. It really is part and parcel of racing in ACC. Use that radar system. Again, drop into TC1, get the car nice and straight, and then bam, accelerating off. Much more traction. I can see again that he's alongside using the radar system. Obviously he's switching to use the inside. I'm staying on the inside line. Try and make him go around the outside. There isn't really an area for him to go around the outside. There's only one real quick line through that last chicane and across the line. But after a 20-minute race, just separated by 1 car length's distance, a fantastic race and flashing the lights just in appreciation. And you can see there setting at 129, a low 129. And that setup is available on the YouTube page if you wanted to try it. And there is another setup also in the Aston Martin. I'm just going to reduce the volume a little bit. So this was a fantastic race. You can see here with GSW GD Partek, a driver that I thoroughly respect, and his YouTube channel is very busy with very fast laps. So obviously we're here at Spa Marcosaurus again, once again in front, and we've got Thug Milk Rain. Never come across the name before, but again Marco is going to be slowing me down, unfortunately, on this race, or in this race. And again, needing to clear these drivers quickly. GD Partek is a very quick driver, and I've long since waited to race him in close proximity. We've had a number of races over the years. Someone that's been with the channel, I think, all the way back from Project Cars 2. So to see him setting some serious lap times, it's quite impressive, to be honest. So just using the inside line really, dropping the traction control maybe. I think we actually stick in TC6 for this entire race. I'm sure this setup again is available on the YouTube channel. But managing to, I'm sure I set a 216.8 with this setup in much lower track temperatures with much lower fuel on board. As you can see, we've started a 30-minute session, 60 litres or 58 litres of fuel on board. When setting a lap here at Spa is, I wouldn't say it's an exploration into what grip's available every single lap, but throughout this race it really is a case of very different levels of grip throughout the entire race. As the tyres start to give way, I changed traction control, as you can see there, coming off the corner back to TC1, so I am swapping between 6 and 1. So knowing that we've got the long Kemmel straight coming up, you could just ease off a tiny bit to make sure you've got a nice gap here. Sometimes it's something that I'll do with drivers that maybe aren't so quick as Thug just ahead, managing to keep the foot flat to the floor through Eau Rouge. You can see he gets a little bit out of shape through Eau Rouge, and I managed to creep up alongside him here. But the McLaren is super quick in a straight line down the Kemmel straight, and I just managed to get in front of him through the braking phase, using that radar just to cut in front of him, and then we can start to progress the lap. Always very slippery through the rear of the car through there, and just looking down at the laps, lap after lap with GD Partek, 218.2, 218.4, 218.7, 218.7. very close lap times. So as we start to hit traffic as well, obviously hitting traffic in different areas, 2:19.2, it doesn't really affect me so much on this lap, Bubba Smith. So I'm managing to get a 2:18.9 I think it was. And then again obviously I'll deal with him on probably the Camel Straight. So a 2:18.4 for Partick and a 2:18.3 for myself. So just swapping and changing fastest laps throughout this race. It really was a good little battle. And it really is, you're just sort of battling with the delta really when you're in a race with someone that's just as quick. So 2:18.9, 2:18.6, we're toing and throwing but not really able to get close enough to Partick to get a good toe off him really. 2:18.6 again, 2:18.4, so just tenths out of each lap. So coming across Thron Nikuni, and really well done. This is what should be happening really with blue flag drivers. It just moves over that tiny bit and then there's no dramas whatsoever. The two drivers battling for position can just go on and continue to have a good race. So coming into lap 10 then, and I'm sure Partick will be holding fastest lap throughout this race. Getting the car nice and straight, dropping the traction control to TC1. And I do prefer to go back to TC6. I know Cozy Learner goes to 1 through here, but it really is too much rear end disturbance. And you can see Partick just spinning out. Very quick decision to me make. I don't think I lifted even. Just wanting to carry that speed along the straights. But unfortunately you'll see here just what happens when we start losing or having battles with other drivers that really got no need to be battling with at all. So Meki 195 there, I'm sure he does the right thing. He sees the blue flags. Whether he runs wide through this corner I'm not sure. You see me there just dropping the engine map. I think I'm actually trying to get to the lights really. So treacle just up ahead. You can see me get the engine map back to where it should be. He's getting the blue flags. Obviously I'm trying to flash him, got my lights on. I think he's going to give up the position here, but he doesn't. And you can see we're nearly 3 seconds down on our normal lap time here. And he's got no reason to be battling with me at all. Nearly wipes the front end of the car out and then ends up just running off. He loses lap time himself. It really was no point in battling with me at all. And then I'm changing my traction control to 9 now because I'm feeling the effects of no grip, whether that's from following other cars, but it really is a changing thing, the racetrack. Don't always presume that you can stay with the same traction control or the same brake balance even. If the car feels different, you can make adjustments in the brake pedal or the brake bias to try and change the characteristics of the car. If you're getting loads of oversteer, you could bring the balance forward a little bit, so the higher the number the more forward the balance. And Aaron does a beautiful job here. He's got the blue flags, just pulls off to one side. I can get past him quickly and go about my own business. I can give him a little flash of the rain light to say thank you very much. And away I go on my merry way to take first place in what was a brilliant battle with GD Partick. So finally I think we're on to the last race in this video, and I think we're going to stay on board for this full 15-minute race. A number of brilliant drivers. You can see Marcosaurus, I think he's in a GT4 car actually in this race on this evening. A brilliant night of racing. Primal Fear also in a GT4 car. I think he's in the Porsche Boxer. Powdered Giant again in the Ferrari just up ahead. I'm sure I'm going to have a good battle with a lot of these drivers throughout this race, but it is all about moving through the field. So straight away getting past Steel GA, I think it was, tucking in behind me, trying to get a bit of a toe. Powdered Giant just on the inside there, running up a little bit of grass. And it really is, I haven't watched this race back, it just really is just talking through the race as I see it really. So looking down, obviously we've got first lap. We're trying to look at the tyre temperatures, the tyre pressures, the tyre temperatures within the dashboard itself. Obviously in the Ferrari I've been looking at a 140, 141 laps really. That's really where the ballpark figure is. None of my laps I want to see in a 142 really. But like I've mentioned before, following cars, obviously using that look ahead as well. Guartiero. So I managed to get past Marcos then. And just looking at the car in front, Guartiero, you can see he's using a control pad with the way the front tyres are flickering. So I know he's not got the dexterity through the braking phase because I've tried the control pad, but it does squeeze me there a little bit, and I thought that was a little bit naughty, to be honest. As much as he is covering the inside line, he's not really allowing me a car's width on the inside to pull alongside, and he kind of makes the move a little bit late. I'm a little bit annoyed with that move so late on. I think if he'd pulled across earlier, I'd have just gone down the outside, and I'd have probably made the pass down the outside under braking. But yeah, you should always try and make those moves a little bit earlier, in my opinion. It's one of those stewards' inquiries, I think. But he has a bit of a coming together with the other car, and I do start to wonder how aggressive Guartiero is going to be when it comes to overtaking him. Again, mentioning the fact that we're following other cars, and it is disturbing the aero balance that I'm getting from the front of the car in general. And I'm not sure whether he's going to have a stab here at Powder Giant. And I know Powder Giant's a good driver, still trying to search for temperature in his tyres, as you can see. So do I risk going down the outside? The two drivers behind having a good little battle. Primal Fear and someone else having a conversation, and Powder Giant making a little error there into the chicane. And trying to get a good exit off this corner now. Trying to get as much as a toe as I can down the straight, staying in first TC1 as long as I can. You know, he's going to cut me off on the inside. That's a fair move in my opinion. He's made his move and he's stuck with it. So again, as I mentioned, under braking, managed to keep it round the outside. Like I said, there's two lines into turn one. You can't carry a lot of speed round the outside. And again, we can start on our way. So you can see we've been lapping in the 145s, 146s. And just see how much lap time that I'm able to pull out in this one lap. Even having gone into turn one, battling for position, and you can just see how much time I'm losing behind another driver. But you can also see how hard it was to get past another driver here at Kyalami, knowing the sort of lap time that I'm capable of setting just through good car positioning. So don't always assume if you've got the fastest car on the circuit, the fastest setup, or you're the fastest driver, that you can get past somebody slower. If you can't, if the car in front doesn't allow you to carry that speed out of the corner or through the corners, they can make it very difficult here at Kyalami to get past. So we're already into the low 142s, and we've had a first lap even into the 141s now. So much time through that last corner. So 141.7 despite that first corner battle really. So I fully expect this next lap to be quicker through turn one. So I'll definitely be looking at the delta through turn one. We could carry a much tighter apex on the power nice and early, and that's how much time we've lost through turn one. Maybe running a little bit too much curb, way too much on the exit, and obviously subsequently losing some lap time from the delta. So again, we can start looking at our tyre temperatures now, making sure the car's running at its best. You could choose to adjust the brake pedal if you don't feel like you've got enough rotation in the corners. This is probably one corner that I feel the car does rotate quite well. Dropping to TC1 usually on the exit there just gives the car much more rotation. And you might notice I'm not doing any driving today. I did have a shoulder procedure just yesterday called a barbotage, where they inject the needle numerous times into a calcium deposit in my shoulder, try and break up the calcium, and hopefully the body absorbs that calcium over the coming weeks, and this shoulder gets much more range of movement and hopefully less pain through sim racing. Obviously we're sitting in this position for a long period of time, a lot of stress goes through that shoulder. Hopefully I'll be on the mend very soon. I'll be away working over the next week, so I'm hopefully just going to get this video put together and let me know your thoughts and opinions on just doing, I guess it's my take on what I see as an outsider looking into some of the races that I've taken part in. I was hoping to find more instances where I was coming across drivers that were driving much slower, and just really the effects of the car once you sort of reach another driver that's going much slower. And this could be one thing that is causing you to be slower, and I know it sounds almost like common sense. If you're driving slower, you're going to be slower. But I can remember, I forget the name of the other driver that mentioned this, but he sort of sat on board in my car during a qualifying session, and he said when he sat in my car, the Ferrari is just screaming. I'm just absolutely wringing its neck for the entire lap, and he is not used to hearing that when he drives it himself, albeit that we're probably about 5 seconds a lap different. And I think as you start to drive the cars slower in Assetto Corsa Competizione, you start to lose the performance from the aerodynamics, the grip from the tyres. Obviously the more heat you generate through the tyre, the more grip we're going to generate, and if you drive the car in a slower fashion, you're going to lose that performance. And I don't think any team principal, especially in Formula 1 or even GT3, would ever tell a driver to slow it down a little bit. You can see he's just having a little battle with this other driver for P3. But I always remember Max Verstappen's first number of years in Formula 1, and he was forever binning the car in the wall. Now in my opinion, that's a driver driving the car to its limit and finding the limit of that car, and then he knows sort of where to hold back, and without pushing the car to that limit, you're never going to know if you're getting the most from the car. I mean, albeit you've got drivers like maybe Grosjean that would always find the limit of the car, but you'd never seem to learn from that. But I'd kind of try and bring that mentality to Assetto Corsa Competizione, where you're always trying to see if you can, say, carry second gear through a corner, or going through a rouge, can you stay absolutely full flat on the throttle through a rouge? Could you carry sixth gear? Could you carry fifth gear? Through this corner maybe, can I carry second gear? I've probably tried it a number of times. Can I carry third gear through this chicane? And obviously yes, you can. You don't need to drop to second gear. Can I carry second gear through this corner? It does actually work better to carry second gear right to the very apex of the corner and then drop to first gear. It's a little bit slow on the acceleration if you stay in second gear through the exit phase of the corner. But these are all things that, as a driver and as someone that's wanting to get faster, you're always trying to find those little areas of the circuit. Use all the circuit, go as far as you can wide into a corner so that you can carry more speed on the exit. especially maybe slow speed corners that lead out onto long straights, like the first corner at Spa. As soon as you've taken that first corner at Spa, you are flat out right into the next corner. It's such a long distance. The more speed you can carry through turn one, you carry all that speed onto the back straight. I'm trying to think of other corners. There's probably the last corner at Imola. If you can carry more speed through there, it's all compounding onto that long back start finish straight. Again here, the last corner at Kyalami. The more speed you can carry through it, it's all the way down the start finish straight. So as we start to approach Tabby Lee, I think another popular member on the Xbox community. In the Porsche, a car that I really do take my hat off to anyone that can set a good lap in the Porsche. It is a very hard car to set up, and a car that takes time to perfect driving. It has a very strange rotation, but a good night's racing we had here at Kyalami. But if you are on Xbox, I've mentioned this time and time again, and there are numerous videos on my channel for the XCL website. The link is in the description. Join the community. Get yourself registered on the website. There's over 1,000 drivers registered on XCL that race every night of the week. There's a hot lap race every Sunday which lasts throughout the entire week, so you can drop in any time. There are 20-minute sessions running all day long, and you can set your fastest lap. I know obviously we haven't got special events within the game itself, but at least with XCL, the guys there have created that, and you can also donate to the guys at XCL for all the hard work that they're doing, the numerous servers that they have up and running, with numerous worldwide events being held at different time zones. Really is a huge amount of effort the guys have been putting in to get that website and the servers all up and running. So here them almost touching the 140s. I'm sure it's probably about 30-degree track temperature, just a typical lobby. So try and watch out this last lap. Hopefully I'll set a faster lap. You see the tyre pressure is just slightly above where they need to be, although the tyre temperatures are pretty much perfect really. I'd probably say about 85, 90 is a perfect tyre sort of temperature to be looking at. Down to very low fuel load left in the car. You can see down in the bottom right hand corner as well, very little clipping going on through the wheel. I try not to run the wheel too heavy, especially with my shoulder the way it is. I try and run a fairly light wheel, but you don't really want to be seeing much clipping from your wheel. It's just going to be damaging your wheel, and you're just losing detailed information through that clipping. You're getting more information than the wheel can give you. But if you're new to the channel, you've managed to stay this way through the video, please do like and subscribe. This isn't the usual content that I'm used to putting out there, but hopefully you can take away a number of bits of information from this short video. I say short, it's probably at least half an hour long at this stage, but I did siphon through a number of videos to try and patch this one together, something that wasn't going to involve me doing any driving. So as we come down to the last corner of the circuit, can we get it? Can we carry enough speed through here to get into the 140s? Almost, but just not quite. Probably still a 141.1. 140.1.95. Not too bad during a race and at the end of a stint. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe. And as always, until the next one. Ciao for now.